Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Junior Markets YouTube page. If you're coming in from YouTube, make sure to check out my website. The link will be in my profile and the description. And if you're coming in from the website, this should be the first video on the stock market page. And the goal of this video is just to reiterate some of the topics I've already talked about on the website, but to just highlight some of the key facts to make sure you have the basics down before going into some of the other tabs and learning more. So to begin, we're going to talk about what is the stock market. So first off, the stock market is an online store. It's not an in-person place where you can go and buy and sell shares of a company. So a company will issue shares, authorized shares. So as you can see, Apple's current stock price is $189, and that means it'll cost you $189 to buy one share of Apple stock. So this means you give Apple $189, and in return, they give you a very small portion of their company. And this means that you became a shareholder, which means you have claim to the company's assets and earnings, and when they do well, you do well in return. Because what makes a stock go up and down is news, supply and demand, economic conditions, investor emotions, company performance, things of that nature. So when a company such as Apple beats earnings or beats revenues, people like their company and like the stock, so they buy it, which makes the demand higher. Now, this is great for two reasons. The first being, this is a great way for companies to raise capital, as company growth can be very expensive, especially once you reach such a high status as Apple. So companies can issue shares and in return gain capital to help themselves grow. And what the shareholders get is a piece of a company they otherwise would not have been able to have any part or say in. So now a few things to go over after that include, how does a company get listed on the stock market? So they have to be approved for what is called an initial public offering, or an IPO. And that means this company can be publicly traded on the stock market by anyone. And then when this happens, they're issued a set number of shares. Companies cannot issue an infinite number of shares. And these authorized amount of shares they can sell can be sold to people like us or to other companies, or companies can do what's called a share buyback and buy back their own shares. So now that we know what a stock is and what the stock market is, and that anyone like you and me can go out and buy shares, let's look at some of the ways that people make money. So if we look back to 2020, Apple's stock price was about $74. And then now it's trading at $189. It's up almost 322% in 5 years. This means that if you had bought one share in 2020, it would be worth $75, and now it would be worth $189. And you did essentially nothing. You just bought the share and let it sit there. This is how people make money through the stock market. There are also other ways, such as dividends and options, and I lay out all of that in my website under investing. So now that we know what everything is, let's just do a quick recap on this first video. So the stock market is an online market where companies, after listing an IPO, can sell shares of their company for anyone to buy, including themselves. The share price fluctuates based on news and other factors such as economic stability, investor emotions, and things like that. And finally, the importance of the stock market is it not only gives people like you and me who might not have the money to play a big part in companies such as Apple or Coca-Cola, it gives us the opportunity to buy into these big companies and get a little piece of their success while also helping these companies grow because they need capital. So that about wraps up our first video. And if you're interested in learning more about this, please check out my website. I go over all of these type of things such as stock market, investing, retirement strategies, all that type of stuff. And if you're already on the website, click on the stock market tab and we'll go down into some other things such as bonds and treasuries, and we'll start learning more about the stock market.